For Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, I'm Ben Dryden. Fitzy, today is National False Confession Day. Is there anything that you would like to falsely confess?
No, I'm Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, and in my line of work, it's always better to tell the truth.
And who does that? Who would confess falsely? Have you ever run into that situation? Where you're usually investigating and trying to find the bad guy, and then somebody who isn't the bad guy confesses, and you're like, well, they confessed. How do you handle that?
Well, it's attention seekers, and you have to prove that they didn't do it.
So it's a thing.
It's a thing.
All right, welcome to the big show, everyone. You're watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience as locally owned and operated business, provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Like Fitzy and I, they believe it's the little things that make a big difference. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. The number's right there on the screen, 715-520-2271. In this week's episode, a Spooner man was arrested for operating while impaired after arriving to jail to pick up an intoxicated driver. I really want your thoughts on that because it sounds funny. But a decades-long investigation culminates with charges of a first-degree murder against an 80-year-old woman. This was over in Polk, but I wanted your thoughts about these cold case type stuff. We'll get an update from Fitzy on how the hunting season is going for law enforcement and in the community. And just added to the list right before we started the show, I wanted to make sure I brought this up. Is the Barron County Republican Party disbanding? I've heard, but we begin, as we always do, with sports. So here is my sports question this morning for you, Fitzy. Which team should feel worse after their loss? The Chicago Bears, who gave up 17 points in the last 3 minutes and change. So they lost to the Lions, or the Kansas City Chiefs, who lost to the Eagles just last night, 21-17, after their receivers continue to lead the league in drops, and there were some big drops at the end of the game. Which team should feel worse for their loss?
Obviously, it's the Bears. I mean, there's no question. You can't give up that many points in that many minutes. So, don't you think it's the Bears?
Yeah, I think it has to be. If the question really is which team should feel worse, I don't think the Chiefs should feel that horrible compared to the Bears after losing 21-17 against probably the best team in the league.
Weather, rain, drop balls, pretty easy.
Yeah, I am concerned for the Chiefs a little bit because this has been plaguing them all year. The receivers dropping balls, and that's not going to get it done in the playoffs because this was like a playoff game.
Right.
And playoff games are won and lost by one extra turnover or a one drop pass. They'll be fine for this rest of the season, but I am a little concerned about them in the playoffs. But yeah, it's the Bears, and that's not on the players, in my opinion. That's on the coaches. I remember there was a basketball game, the Shell Lake Lakers. It was I was playing my freshman year, and I was watching the varsity team, and it was in a tournament game or something. In the first half, the Lakers were just blowing out this other team, and the other team was technically better, and it was just like pedal to the metal, right? Transition off, let's go. And then after halftime, they came out with this icing. I don't know if you ever did that when you played basketball, but this idea of icing, which means you don't shoot the ball until there's 5 seconds left on the clock. You want to just... And quickly the other team came back, and it was too late, and the Lakers lost. That's what it reminds me of.
Well, and I think that happened to the Bears, happened to the Vikings. You don't let off the gas. I mean, you can't let off the gas in these because teams are good. These are professional players, so you can't give it up like that. You just can't. You gotta keep it on the gas. So
yep.
So how about F1? Did you watch it in Vegas?
I did. Well, I didn't go to Vegas, but I watched. Yes, and there were some hiccups. Right.
Yeah.
It's the first time they're going to be there for at least 10 years. It's the first one. A lot of issues going up to it with the practice and even qualifying. There were some issues. The track was a little too slippery. And the timing, they put it on it started at midnight. And I love F1, but I'm not watching. I'm going to stay up until midnight and watching it. So thankfully I subscribed to the F1, $100 a year, something on the apps, and so I could watch it the next morning. But the race was fantastic.
Pretty neat to watch. I mean, it was a mess for Vegas after being there and seeing some of the setup earlier in the month, but man, there was people everywhere, wasn't there? It was pretty impressive to watch. I mean, I saw highlights. I didn't watch it. I don't get into F1 like you do, but
we'll get you watching.
Yeah, no, you won't.
Okay. Yeah, not too bad. There's only one race left. Also, again, reason starting at midnight. I mean, come on, nobody can really watch it. First of all, and it gets cold in Vegas at night too. It's like
Yeah.
40, 50 degrees, and that's not good for those for the tires.
Right.
But it was a great
How
race. The actual race
about
itself was fantastic.
Right. It was good. And they're going to do it again next year, even though they said they made money. So we'll see.
Yeah, they spent like half
Um,
$1 billion in that thing.
how about some local sports? How about congratulations, the Race Lake Warrior football team, state champs
What?
last Thursday. Yes.
Outstanding.
Or Friday. Sorry. So, yep, state
Congratulations.
champion, Race Lake Warrior football. So that's pretty awesome.
That is pretty
Came
awesome.
home, they had a parade, and pretty awesome for those high school kids just being there. And then not only that, but winning it. It was awesome.
What an experience
Yeah.
for
Awesome
those
these
kids.
and the play at Camp Randall on the field. I mean, my son got to feel it. You know, they got the silver ball, not the gold ball, but man, just being there is pretty awesome.
What's that? Silver ball, not the gold
The
ball.
second place? They didn't win it. The second gold
Okay.
ball is you want the gold one.
Got it.
So
Good morning, Dirk. For say good morning, and Mike Schaefer must be feeling I don't know what about after that Vikings. I mean, that Dobbs guy. I mean, he was doing well, but that can't last forever.
yeah, what about big Monday night matchup? Bears Vikes.
Next week, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, at the end of the show, I do want to get your pick: Ohio State versus Michigan.
Okay.
Who you got? It's a huge game this
Huge
weekend. Speaking of Mike, we want to appreciate him. So we have a whole bunch to get to here. We'll get to that in 15 seconds after word from Spooner Health.
Satisfaction surveys and in conversations with patients, they appreciate the fact that staff got to know them. Staff really took their preferences into account, and they just feel grateful that they are being cared for as a person.
To learn more about our services, visit spoonerhealth.com. All
right, so we have several things to get through. We want to talk about Thanksgiving, of course, the hunting season, and the Barron County Republican Party. But I want to start with this. Our headline was Spooner man arrested for operating while impaired after arriving at jail to pick up intoxicated driver. I was talking to a member of law enforcement yesterday, and I asked them, "Hey, did you see that article?" I said, "Yeah," and he told me that happens more often than you think. I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. So he's like, "Bring it up to Fitzy tomorrow." So I'm bringing it up to you. Is that true?
Yeah, yes, it is true. You have to remind these people that are calling for a ride, because you get to call for a ride for a second, third offense. Normally, if you cooperate and everything goes well, you get to call for a ride and get home. Okay, it's not the end of the world. And so you call for a ride, but who are you going to call? Your buddies. Well, who you're out with, all your buddies. So you got to make sure that somebody's sober that's coming to get you. It's happened before. I think this one even had kids in the car, which is a little bit worse. Well, it's a lot worse. And but yes, it does happen more than you think, because who else is up at 2 a.m. except the guy you're at the bar with, because he's still up. So you call him first. Well,
True.
He thinks he's sober because he's been at home for 15 minutes. That's not how it works. So,
And just be clear, I think on this one, it didn't specify alcohol. It was impaired.
Right.
Wisconsin State Patrol was the one who had this information that we put up. So it kind of was weird, because at the first part it seemed like it was, but then further down it was operating under a controlled substance. So I don't know if it's alcohol or if it was marijuana or other drugs or something else. Actually, that'd pretty much be it, right? Alcohol or drugs. So I don't really know which one it was, but is it happen enough where let me so not this case, because this was Spooner anyway, or in Washburn County, so you wouldn't even know this. But when it's happened down there, how do you know? Is a person, let's just assume it's alcohol, not in this case, but just a situation like this, out with a buddy, he gets pulled over on his way home from the bar or wherever they are. Maybe they were just at his house having some fun, and he goes home. And then the guy goes to pick him up, and he gets there. How do you know? Is it you smell a breath, or is there a policy?
No. So you have to sign for the person to take custody of them, that you won't let them drive for 12 hours. So that's what you have to do, is sign for somebody. So if obviously you're having a conversation with somebody in the lobby of the jail saying, "Hey, you're here to pick up so-and-so." Yep, I am. And they're staggering, their eyes are bloodshot, the smell. I mean, the cues we look for in law enforcement when it comes to OWI enforcement, you look for those. And then if you watched him drive there, So
Yeah, you guys monitor the parking lots, and late at night,
Right.
it's not like you have employees parking out there, so it's noticeable when there's a car out there.
and there's no one else in the car that you came with you. So.
Right, right. That's
So
interesting.
yeah, it happens. It's happened before here, not too often, but it does happen because again, you're at midnight or 1 a.m. You're calling somebody that you've been at the bar with because you're usually there with your friends. So as long as we're on alcohol, we should probably touch on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is a big drinking night. Everybody's home for the holidays, and everybody wants to go out. And these kids are home for the first time. There's stockpiles of alcohol for deer camps and Thanksgiving feasts and everything like that. So everybody wants to have a good time, but people want to go home afterwards. So big night for drinking. It's usually, it has been referenced Blackout Wednesday because no one has to get up Thursday morning right away unless you're cooking the turkey. So a lot of people go out drinking on Wednesday night, and we want everybody to make it home safe to their holidays. So that's where we're at.
All right. Good morning, Renee Hewitt, and good morning, Representative Magnifici. Welcome. It's just, I don't know. When I see these, I'm glad you said that this happens more often than we think, which would be true just because I thought it would never happen, because I put this under the category of like, how dumb do you have to be? But it sounds like this is a common thing. Or not common, but...
Well, but again, that's what alcohol does to you, or impairment does to you. You don't make good decisions. Otherwise, we wouldn't have drunk drivers. You know, it's pretty easy to go not have a drunk driver tomorrow night. Just have a plan right now for your kids, your grandkids, whoever it is. Have a plan for them to get picked up by somebody. Go out, have a good time with your friends. Again, a lot of these kids haven't been home since they left for college in August. So it's the first time home. We want them to enjoy Thursday with their families for Thanksgiving.
And you don't want to be in jail on Thanksgiving. Yeah,
you don't want to be, because you got to stay till Friday. If you get arrested on Wednesday, you're staying till Friday. So
yeah, have an exit strategy. You know, I've talked about that a lot. Just assume you're going to, or maybe I shouldn't. Just have a plan. Have an exit strategy. It's make the decision when you're sober,
right?
Because you're not going to make a good decision when you're not. All right, the next one here, and this was in Polk County. We had two stories, actually. We had the information from the sheriff, and then we requested the criminal complaint. It was like 40 or 50 pages long. But it had all the stuff back from the 80s, but the headline was Cold Case Breakthrough. Decades-long investigation culminates with charges of first-degree murder against an 80-year-old woman. She's currently out in Arizona. And I was thinking about you, which, I always think about you when we're not doing the show. And I had to call Arizona, I don't know what county, to get I don't know how to get a booking photo from this place. So I called, I was on hold forever. It took 2.5 hours jumping through all these hoops, and no, you can't do it. And then someone said, no, we can't give it to you unless you're law enforcement. I'm like, what? So it was a mess. Finally, I had to talk to the legal department, and apparently this jail, the sheriff's office, is the third largest in the country, which was not. Maricopa County or something like that. But I finally ended up getting it. But this was obviously a cold case thing, a murder in Polk County. I think it was in the 80s, right? Mid-80s or something. When you saw this, does this give you hope when you have cold cases? Because I think they kind of really started focusing on this a couple of years ago. Not that they ever forgot about it, but they put resources into this. And there have been, as you have said on the show many times, sometimes community doesn't like what we do. We as in law enforcement, we as in you.
Right.
Putting those resources into it, come on. 2 years worth of more resources and investigation for something that happened decades ago. Are you happy seeing that stuff?
Yeah. First of all, hats off to Sheriff Walk and his team. That's just impressive, law enforcement police work. This is his second one, I think, since he's taken over. And that's a feather in his hat. That's good. That's a good cop right there. And hats off to his team for never giving up. You can't give up hope. We learned that here. I'm just thinking, if we have any cold cases, I'm sure there's cold cases, there's burglaries and things like that, but I don't have any serious cold cases like this.
See, unlike Sheriff Walk, we get it done. We get it done right away. 3 decades.
And Sheriff Walk wasn't probably even in law enforcement back then.
Man.
So, it's impressive. It's good police work. It's yeah, I don't know, it's awesome. I
Yeah,
mean,
and obviously this has not come to, when I read through the entire criminal complaint, at no point did she admit in there to law enforcement, okay, you finally got me. So there's still, like, this isn't over.
right. She
Person
got,
has to get extradited. Now, I don't know if she's back or she's in Polk County yet. Now we have to go through the judicial system, right? And make a case, and then could be a trial. I'm assuming it would be a trial, and obviously
yeah,
I don't
you
want to
don't
assume
have
too
probably
much.
a
I'm
lot
just
of
saying this
witnesses.
isn't over yet. But for the family, that alone is great.
Yeah.
Who have gone decades
Yeah,
without
I wonder
knowing.
if she's gonna give it up. If she's 80 years old now. I mean, I wonder if she's gonna finally say, "Yeah, I've been living with this forever, and I'm done living with it." I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. People need closure. It's for the family. That's why we do what we do. I mean, and again, we're not perfect at our jobs, and but it's just great police work. Great police work by the Polk County Sheriff's Department. Awesome.
Yeah, and it helps all law enforcement. As we talked about, if one person in the Barron County Sheriff's Department does something dumb, it affects the community's opinion of law enforcement in our whole area in rural northwest Wisconsin. But also things like this have a similar effect, but in a positive way. And also to tell criminals that, hey, we may not get you tomorrow, but we're never giving up. And I was
That's right.
just saying, we're going to get you.
Right.
maintain-
And we found, I mean, just in burglaries alone, people think they get away from a burglary, and then 6 months, 8 months, a year later, we solve a burglary. Now, we're probably not going to get none of the stuff back, but at least we solve the case, or we understand who did it. So, or we catch somebody and they're like, yeah, I've been doing burglaries for, 8 months now, and I've done this place, because they don't want to live with it. So it's good police work. That's why our detectives work so hard. That's why the initial officer's report is so important. And so that's, why the first cop on scene is very important. You might not think it's a major case. The dispatcher taking information. I mean, all of that goes into the play, and that's why you can sell it to your new staff. I mean, you've got to be trained, and you got to be ready to go from the first call. Because everything is information. The first dispatch call to the first officer that arrived on that scene. If he doesn't do anything, and 25 years ago, or however many long it was, 10 years ago, was it?
Almost 30.
30 years. Yeah,
almost 30 years. Yeah.
I mean, back then we didn't have the technology we had today. So you're pulling up on a crime scene is a little bit different 30 years ago than it is today.
Yeah.
So there's some good police work obviously was done, and some good reports were taken, good statements were taken back 30 years ago. And then
I was literally going to bring that up. And what impressed me the most was, I mean, obviously law enforcement changes and gets better. I mean, in theory, or ideally, what we all do, like if you do your job long enough, and like you said, with technology, but it still comes back to, this is the, I think, 1980s, mid 80s, and they had good enough notes back then, right? Where it took longer, it was all handwritten, and I'm just saying, they go back, they need all that information. So the cops actually did do their jobs back in the 80s, because if they didn't, nowadays, 2023, we go back and look at it and go, oh man, this was terrible. No, they did everything, and it was there, and they needed that in order to then combine all the reports that they did in the past, all the interviews, all the documents. Then you mix that with technology today, right?
Yeah.
So
It's awesome. I mean, it's pretty cool. And I haven't read the 48-page report yet, but I see you posted it, and it's just good. That's good police work. That's and Sheriff Walk for letting. Obviously, you have a detective that has a passion for something. You let him roll with it, and you let him go. And that's what our detectives do here locally. I mean, you got a guy that says, I want to catch this guy, but it's going to cost some overtime to go out there and sit. And the first night you struck out, the second night you struck out, but you keep pushing and you find him. You finally get the guy you want, whether it's drugs. Or
well,
it's a
yeah, they were in Arizona for quite a while through all this, and that cost money.
Right. But it's all worth it in the end,
Absolutely.
and you keep pushing it, and hats off again to the Polk County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah. Hey, did you go to the Barron County Republican Party meeting? I think it was last week. I actually texted you about it, and I wanted to talk to you before we did the show, but I don't know. You ignored me or something. You must have been doing police work or probably in a meeting.
I've been doing police work.
So I've heard some things, and I heard it was, I wouldn't say good or bad. It was just an interesting meeting. And I also heard maybe what's going to happen next, and possibly like getting rid of the Barron County Republican Party. Well, hold on. Disbanding it, but then therefore to possibly then restart it again with different, I don't know, leadership, president, whatever that's called. Were you at that?
I was. Unfortunately, I was.
Okay, so what was it like?
In my professional capacity, I was there in my professional capacity, which obviously is me. I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't inside for the actual meeting because I belong to both parties, but I'm not I'm not a.
I know you go to all
member.
of these.
I go to all the meetings all the time. So, it was interesting. There were some rude people there, rude people from outside of Barron County, people that wanted to have an influence on this that weren't from Barron County, and I didn't quite understand that were literally, and I didn't have a say, and neither did the Barron County Republican Party. Didn't have a say. This was put on by I'm going to get it wrong, the Wisconsin Republican Party, the Wisconsin Republican Party. There was people there that, and my understanding of it, and again, some chatter, is that you couldn't just walk in and say so-and-so sucks. You had to give a reason why, you can't just say it's just bad. You had to give reasons why you were upset, why you felt wronged, or defending yourself, whatever. There was back and forth, kind of like a trial. It's kind of like testimony. But yeah, there's so many people from outside of Barron County that demanded to get in, that wanted to speak, that you don't have a say.
Why would they come from outside the? I mean, it's Barron County Republican Party.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, they stayed for the full 4 hours. I mean, there was protests with signs. I mean, it's the first riot I really been to. No, it really wasn't a riot, but we joked about it.
It's a civil. What was it called?
Civil disturbance.
Civil disturbance. That's right. It's Positive Tuesday.
A civil disturbance. I almost.
It's almost a civil disturbance.
I mean, it was embarrassing. If I'm there and I'm like, I demand to speak, and then you had to sign up to speak, and so some guy, I don't know who he was, signs up to speak, and the lady crosses his name off, and he signs his name, and I'm like, you're not gonna win, buddy. You're not gonna win. Just give it up. You can't speak. You don't belong. You don't even live in Barron County. You're from like Chippewa or Luck or Frederick or Superior. I don't know where they were all from. It didn't make any sense to me, and why all these people were there from outside the area, no local decision gets to be made. This is a state decision. This was the state of Wisconsin, or the Republican Party of Wisconsin, rented this room. So it's a private room. I can rent a room at the college. Doesn't mean you get to come unless I invite you to come. It's not an open public meeting. It's not all this stuff.
That part I didn't know. I didn't know that. I knew that they were running it, but I never thought about that. So interesting.
We had to cap it because there was lots of people there, but you had to cap it at the room max capacity. And so you had to make sure you had your name tag on, and, some lady could be there, and she got mad at me because I asked to see her name tag, and she's like, I got it right here. I'm like, just relax. I'm just asking to make sure you got a name tag. The tensions were high. Ultimately, it sounds like, they might disband it temporarily and then start over with a new charter or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
And what needs to happen. I don't know what needs to happen.
Yeah, because it's been a tire fire for a while, and I don't know how or where there's some. I don't know what they're called, presidents or chair of the Republican Party. There's a person. I don't know who it is, but apparently that's where a lot of this started. Again, I have not independently sourced this information, which is just a fancy way of saying it's just what I heard. So I don't know for sure. But it kind of started there, I think, or whatever. So, and I asked this person who went to this meeting, I said, so why can't, if it's like one individual, and we'll just say is it a president of a party?
It's a chair.
A chair. So let's assume it's the chair, which, again, I don't know for sure. But one person, can't you just, remove the person? And apparently, maybe not. And then by getting rid of it completely and then restarting it, then you can kind of start over and pick your not pick your members, but the leadership. I'm like, and this is the stuff you see when it's Republicans versus Democrats. There are no Democrats involved in this. This is the Republican. Like, you can't
they're
figure this.
On the sidelines giggling.
It's just great. I mean, I love storylines and dumpster fires, and that's totally what this is right now.
It was interesting. Again, I didn't have to do anything, but
Nice.
the rudeness of people was
Aw,
like, it
be
was just
better.
terrible. Be better. Yeah. I mean, you can't speak. You can't speak. You tried to, you asked. Some people were very polite about it. There was people that obviously belonged to the Barron County Republican Party that weren't on some list, and they were upset, rightfully so. And they got it all worked out in the end. Cooler heads prevailed, and everything. I don't know what's going to happen. They have like 45 days. People thought the decision was going to be made that night, so people were mad about that. I don't
I heard
understand
stuff
it.
about the lists, and that maybe there was a list of the approved people can come in, but this side wouldn't share their list with other. I'm like, how freaking petty is that? It's just great. It's just great.
Yeah.
I love
Well, it's
it.
not great.
No, it's terrible, but you know what I mean. When I say it's great with a big grin on my face, yeah, it's just great. They better get this stuff figured out.
It's good news, I guess. I don't know.
Well, there would be a resolution. If that is what's going to happen, then at least there would be a resolution to this, because they haven't even held a meeting in forever.
Like 5 months or
Yeah,
something.
and it's like, that's not good. No, not at all. So clearly, the Barron County Republican Party just needs an enema. It just does.
Yeah.
All right. You had mentioned hunting, or maybe it was before we went live. I can't remember that you were out in the morning. So how did opening weekend go for hunting, which apparently there's a lot of hunting seasons, as we talked last week, which I still think you're making
This
up
is
one
the
of them.
big one.
Yeah. So how did it go?
Yeah, I think it was great. I think it was a little too warm for the hunters, but it was nice for me. I drove around, stopped some cars, gave some warnings. It was just a great morning. Everybody's happy and joyful. Just what we want tomorrow and the next day to be. And so opening hunting, no incidents. The DNR's out working. There's no snow for the hunters. I agree. There needs to be snow. And they can track their deal better. Oh, you got to be a good hunter this year because there's no snow. So, some good deers on Facebook. People got some good bucks. Everybody enjoys this time of year, and no one enjoyed it way too much. So that's good.
When you say that you pull people over and give them warnings, is it because you just kind of forget how to write tickets after a while, since you're just like, I'm a sheriff, I'm not a patrol deputy?
No, it's just because I'm just trying to make a positive impact in the community. Or maybe because I don't know how to write a ticket.
I remember it was like the last couple of years, Dad was still the sheriff, and he had mentioned something. I'm like, so did you give him a ticket? He goes, I called someone else. I called the state patrol. I'm like, is that normal? He goes, well, they have, I don't know, quotas or something. Maybe not. He mentioned something about, they get credit for this or something. And then he kind of subtly said, and honestly, I couldn't remember how to do this one.
Well, you got to have a computer hooked up to a printer. And I borrowed a squad, and I don't have that, and so.
And sometimes laws change and they're updated, and it's like, wait, where's the new one? If you don't do it all the time, so I was mostly joking, but also a little serious.
Well, I can do it. I just don't know. I don't. My computer doesn't hook up to the cars using so.
It's easier just to give a warning.
I did write a ticket. The guy didn't have a driver's license. He was warned for speeding. He didn't have a driver's license. He called for a ride, and one of my deputies is writing him a ticket. So there is,
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Now, does he have a driver's license? He just didn't have it with him?
No, he didn't. He was suspended.
Okay, because I'm like, come on, really? You're giving someone a ticket? Because I forgot my license. That's it. 30 days of jail.
That's right. I'm bringing the hammer down. I'm fixing the crime in Barron County. Yep.
I thought that's what you meant. Like, man, you're harsh.
Yeah, I know. Don't commit crimes in Barron County.
No, apparently not.
No.
All right. Yeah, plans this weekend? Thanksgiving or anything coming up this week other than Thanksgiving? Well, start with Thanksgiving. How about
Thanksgiving? Everybody's home in my family, so it'll be a great day tomorrow. Both kids will be home. I mean, it's going to be awesome. We want everybody to enjoy their families. Lots of travel tomorrow. Heavy travel, both in the air and on the roads tomorrow. Weather looks good here, so I'm grateful for that. I'm thankful that our families will be home together. Yeah. It's just, we want to make it special for everybody. And there's a lot of free will meals out there. If you don't have somebody, you can go places for free will giving. It's just awesome. So it's just awesome. How about you? What's your Thanksgiving?
Well, hold on. I want to read this real quick. Here's Dirk, our weather guy. No travel problems for the long Thanksgiving weekend. Highs start in the 40s and fall into the 20s or around 30. Lows in the teens. Today we'll see mostly cloudy skies, followed by lots of sunshine for the rest of the week. A little bit of wind through, but nothing significant. So yeah, maybe we'll get some snow in the when it gets that 20s and 30s for the hunters, right? How long does the hunting season go?
Goes till next Sunday, so I don't think we'll have snow on the ground by then.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
This week, no, actually, it's what starts today. I know nobody really cares, but it's just another. I love these kinds of stories. It's the Wisconsin State Supreme Court's going to start open now. It's going to be the hearings for the gerrymandering and the maps and stuff, which people say the Republicans redrew it just to help them. Yeah, that's how it works. And Democrats have done it before. They just have, and right now they're saying, the Republicans have unfair advantage, and essentially they want to do the same thing, is get it back to what helps out. It's just how it works, folks.
Right.
It is what it is. Don't blame the Republicans if you also don't blame Democrats, but really just say it is what it is. But what's happening today is that contiguity, right? I think that's the thing that they're hearing about today. And basically you just look at a map or a current map and you're looking for are the borders within kind of the borders, or look at it like islands. If you look at a map in the district and all of a sudden it's like this one weird area, that's bizarre. How's that in the district? Yeah, so that's not good. And I don't know why we need like state Supreme Court to look at this. You could look at it yourself without a law degree. You could close one eye and look at it and go, yeah, that doesn't.
Maybe you and I should map this out.
Right?
We
No
can do
kidding.
it.
Use some common sense, folks. So that's what's starting today. Because the fun part is if this all gets done by, I don't know, March-ish or something would need to be done, that means everybody's back on the ballot next year.
Yeah.
Whether it's a 2 or a 4-year term, it doesn't matter. Now that the maps are redone, and we just did these, and it's a presidential election cycle, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, November. There won't be enough room for our mail in our mailbox if that's the case.
Oh, it's gonna be it's just gonna be great. Like Romaine Quinn will have to run again. I mean, cheapers, are we just gonna do this every 3 years? Let's just redo the maps. It's just great. Oh,
just give everybody a county and then we'll be okay.
I don't understand why can't we follow counties? Why can't we? I don't. Well, I understand because of the size, but start just there. Try to border it, right?
Well, they split even in county boards. I mean, basically, you get, I think it's 4 by 4 miles, and that's a county board area, and the city of Rice Lake split into 3, and counties do it all the time for county board elections. I mean, but it's all about this advantage and this. It's
a total political thing, and that's the part where I'm saying don't bang on Republicans and don't bang on Democrats for the. It's a very useful tool for people that are in power. It's politics. It's just how it works. I mean, you can hate it, but it's just the way it is. Also, this week coming up, you're gonna love this. I really thought Maryland was gonna beat Michigan. The biggest game for your team this weekend.
Right.
Michigan, Ohio State. Who you got?
Oh, I'll take Michigan. We're gonna win.
Whoever loses, are they out? They'll be out of the top 4, and they won't be playing in the. Yeah, look at Washington if they win. Well, they're already in the 4th. Florida State, if they win, they're undefeated. You got to put them above. If Oregon beats Oregon State this weekend, 6-11, they're also a 1-loss team, but they've beaten more ranked teams. So no, I think whoever loses this, Michigan or Ohio State, I think they're out of the college football playoffs. I really do.
I don't think so. If Michigan loses, they're out. If Ohio State loses, I think they get the 4 seed. There's my prediction.
Above an undefeated team, above Florida State, above what? Okay, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, yes, we will.
That'll be good.
So, are you going anywhere for Thanksgiving? For Halloween?
Nope, not at all. I think we're staying here. This will be for like George's family. I think we'll be doing. No, we already did ours like a month ago. How weird is that? Like middle of October, and we're doing Thanksgiving. But no, actually, now I think about it, I don't think we have any plans.
Yeah, Jace plays hockey this weekend. Emma's coming home tomorrow. So yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Did they pass out many buck tags this year? I know for why you could only get. You're asking the wrong people.
We know nothing about deer and nothing about politics, but we talk a lot about it.
We can make stuff up though. So yeah, I heard that they pass out a lot of buck tags. Right. I don't even know what that is.
I heard the Bucks are going crazy this year. Oh no, that's the basketball.
Yeah,
team.
they won
How
last
about the
night by a
Timberwolves?
lot.
How about the Timberwolves though? The Timberwolves are in first place. I mean,
Yeah,
they
we'll
could
see.
be legit.
Yeah, it's early.
It's early. If they're 10-3, I'll take it.
Yeah, don't worry your pretty little head about it. They won't finish first. For Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, I'm Ben Dryden, and you've been watching Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy, presented by Professional Exteriors and Interiors. With 20 years of experience as locally owned and operated business, provides quality work both on the inside and on the outside of your home or business. Give them a call today. See what they can do for you. 715-520-2271. Fitz and I are taking a 6-day, what would that be? 6-day, 23-hour, and 15-minute break. Until our next show. We're doing a show next week, right? I'm assuming?
We are
Probably
doing
look
a
at our
show.
December calendar. And I
Right.
think, oh, by the way, I think, what?
I might have a date in December that I can't do, but I can't remember.
Don't say it's the 12th.
Okay. I won't say it's the 12th. It's
Is
the
it?
19th.
Oh, good. Yeah, so on the 12th, we tentatively penciled in Sawyer County Judge John Yackel is going to be joining us for a show. He usually has his
Perfect.
intake, and it's the busiest day, but apparently something happened, and he has that day. He'll be able to do it in the morning. So we may have Sawyer County Judge on. I know I asked you when you were seeing Governor Evers last week to ask him to come on for a show. Did you?
I did not.
I know you would. I knew
He
you
did
wouldn't
have
do
that.
it.
He was busy.
All right. Well, all right. Well,
Street open, so. Hey, shop local this weekend. Have a Thanksgiving. Thank you for everybody to watches the show, that supports law enforcement. Have a great Thanksgiving.
yeah. Shop local in Spooner and Shell Lake, not Rice Lake.
In Rice Lake.
No,
Our
hold
Main
on.
Street
So I'm going to keep this going. I got to ask. So that was the thing. Governor Evers was in Rice Lake last week
Yep.
to, I don't know, ribbon cutting thing and reopen downtown or
Right.
something. So why was it closed? I never knew this.
They redid it. They redid
Oh.
the whole street. Gutted it like they did in Spooner.
Well, so they just
Same
put in a
thing.
new road? Like, we didn't
Yeah.
have the governor come up here just to open a road that got
We got
fixed.
We got a grant for something. I don't know. We did it from sidewalk to sidewalk. We put in a boulevard. It's down to 1 lane instead of 2 lanes. Yeah, it's different.
So the
Stop
buildings
lights
are all the
pocket.
same. Nothing has changed, just the road.
Just the road, but from sidewalk to sidewalk. So we got new boulevards. I mean, it's totally different.
Yeah.
We got cool lighting. It won't be done till next year, but we opened
Well,
it.
it's still not done yet. And the governor but he won't come on for a show. But, I'm going to go all the way up to Rice Lake because they got their road repaired, but it's not finished.
Right.
Hey, I don't do a schedule, so whatever. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week. Have a blessed day.